Good morning, class. Today we're going to do a little review of some things that we've learned throughout Chapter 6, and it will help you on your review worksheet that you'll see, Thursday Review Chapter 6-B, because we did Review A yesterday. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is lines, line segments, and rays. Remember we talked about a ray is like to think of the sun, and out of the sun comes these rays of sunlight. Well, just like the ray of sunlight, this is a ray. Okay, it has the one vertex and the arrow at the end. Okay, one thing that's really important for you to remember is that when you're drawing a ray, you have to be able to label it. So if it asks you draw ray OR, we look at what is at the beginning here, the O. The O lines up with this side. It does not have an arrow on it. So the same thing with this ray. So if I have a point here, would this be O or would it be R? It would be O. So we would write O right there. Okay? Then to label R, we would look, R lines up with the arrow side. So your R would be on this side next to the arrow. Now, if your ray looked a little different, and let's say it was backwards, okay? And it's labeled PT. Now, in order to draw PT, you could draw the ray like this, or you could draw it like this. Either way is fine. However, you have to make sure the T lines up with this side and the P lines up with the point of the arrow. So when I go to label my ray, I would put one point here. Now, would that be P or would that be T? It's on this side. So look from here and at this one, P or T. If you said T, you're correct. That's T point. We know that this side is the P side because it has the arrow above it. So we would put P here. Now, if I wanted to do it on this arrow, which you can do, even though it faces the opposite direction, that's fine. You just have to make sure that you line up the P with the arrow and the T with the end of the ray, the vertex of the ray. So again, if this is the point, then I would ask you, is this point P or T? If you said T, you're correct, because the T is on the end of the ray. Underneath the arrow, we have the other point, P. Okay, so do you see how these look different? You have ray PT, ray TP and ray TP. They're just written differently, okay? Now we go on from the ray to a line. Remember, a line continues. A line keeps on going. Okay? So it goes both ways. If it says draw a line RU, you have to make sure that you're putting the points R and U. Now, a line segment is different than a line. Remember, a line segment is just part of a line. So in a line segment, you have 2 points. Okay? In their line segment, it's QW. All right? So a line keeps going. A line segment is just part of a line. Some of your work today will be about turns. On your work, it gives you already the vertex, which is this point, and it gives you the angle of one side, or one side of the angle. So you're responsible for drawing the other side of the angle. So let's say, for example, it says 1/4 turn clockwise. You have to think, when I count on a clock, does it go this way or does it go this way? Well, clockwise, think like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way around. Clockwise goes like the clock. So if it's 1/4, it goes 1/4 of the way to here. So your second side of the angle is right here. So you've just made a right angle. Let's say that they give you this line with the vertex here and the line for the arrow here. And it asks you to turn half, so half turn, a half turn counterclockwise. Sorry, that's not very nice writing. Counterclockwise. So even though the top of the angle is not like a clock, you still have to think about the clock. So if you need to, you could even put the numbers in the air to help you think about it. Well, I know that anything that goes around the clock goes always like this way. So if it's counterclockwise, then it's going to go the opposite way. And how much does it want us to turn? An entire halfway around the clock, or a half turn. So we would take the other side and we'd go all the way. There's 1/4 to 1/2 all around. So your second side would go there, which actually creates a straight line. The last part of the review I'm going to do with you is about right angles. Okay? A right angle is any angle where we see the square. That's our symbol. Whenever we see that square inside of an angle, we know it's a right angle. Okay? Let's do a little sample. You follow along and say or repeat what the answer is. I'll ask you, is this a right triangle? You say yes or no. Okay? All right, let's start here. Number A. Okay? Is this a right triangle? B. Is this a right triangle? I mean right angle. I'm sorry, not a right triangle. Is this a right angle? If you said no to A, you're correct. No to B. Yes to C. We know that because there's a square there. The right angle applies also when we talk about right triangles. Here's my triangle. Now, are there any angles in this triangle that are right? Is that a right angle? Nope. Is this? Nope. Is this? Nope. Let's see another one. Okay? We're going to label this triangle. A, B, and C. I want you to tell me, does this have a right, or is it a right triangle? If you said yes, you're correct. It is a right triangle. Now, if I ask you, what angle makes it right, you would say angle B. You could also just write B. Because B, my friends, is the right angle that makes the triangle what we call a right triangle.